Good morning, good morning. Guess what time it is? It's Pixel Chatter time. That's the new theme song. There we go. How you doing? Here we are for the episode 56 of Pixel Chatter, the final episode for 2018. Hope you're all doing well. Just going to open up the chat on my phone, which is the new way that I have to do things these days. Oh dear, didn't know what was going to happen this morning. Had all sorts of issues technology-wise, but I've got there right on the bell. So, let me jump into my phone here so I can see who's on board with us here. There we go. Excellent. Who we got here? Handy Parts, good morning. Brian, good morning. And Merry Xmas. Yes, Merry Christmas to those that believe. G'day, Dave's Tattoo. Matt, you like my hat? Special Christmas edition hat. I don't know how long it'll stay on because it's already feeling a bit warm, but I'll keep it on for now. Good morning, Bill. G'day, Spanner. All right, chat's running. I hope everyone's doing really well. I haven't got out for much photography in the last week, which is a bit of a shame. There has been some cracking storms in Sydney, and I've seen some cracking storm shots, and I wish some of them were mine. It's the one thing that I haven't managed to get out and shoot yet is a storm, and I'd love to shoot a storm. So, who knows? It's something that's on the bucket list, and I'm sure will happen at some stage. Okay, I'm just setting myself up here. Everything's a little bit clunky with the way I do it now, but it seems to be working well. We haven't had any technical issues for weeks now, which is awesome. Just really... Did we have any hail? Yes, we had lots of hail. There was some big hail. There was a lot of damage in Sydney. And if you didn't see it, certainly just Google it, and I'm sure that when you Google it, you'll find plenty of news and plenty of pictures of damage. There was a lot of damage. The insurance companies, I'm sure, are going to be hit pretty hard. We had within a few days, we had two big hailstorms, so and a windy storm as well, which knocked trees down on top of buildings and cars. So the insurance companies will be getting hit pretty hard. G'day, Dennis. G'day, Ren. Yes, Ockie is just hanging around this morning. Well done, Bill. So somebody mentioned in my last video I did that would come out Wednesday night, you couldn't see Ockie, and he was around, but he wasn't easy to find, and I don't know that you'd ever see him in the video because he was right behind my chair, and I don't think I moved enough for him to become visible anyway. There you go. All right, let's quickly talk about a couple of things and then get stuck into the meat and potatoes of the show. First of all, my calendar is still available. You can head across to my website. It looks something like this. Head across to my website. I'll be doing the last postage run on Monday. You can see it's $30 Australian, $10 shipping all over Australia, no matter where you are, and $18 international, no matter where you are. So 12 of my favourite images, beautifully presented in a calendar. Always wanted to do a calendar. And now I have one out, and it's sold really well, actually. I was a bit surprised that so many people would want my calendar. There you go. But I have got a few left, and if they don't go by Monday night, then there'll be a few extra Christmas presents under the tree. Who else we got? Bala, g'day. To see you. So that is the calendar. If you get your order in before Monday, I guess midday Aussie time, I'll get it in the post to you, and you should have it before the start of the new year. That way you get full 365-day value. But of course, it's a calendar. If you don't get it till mid-January, it's okay as well. I wanted to quickly talk about the worldwide sticker board. It's what you see behind me. If you can see up behind me, I've got a worldwide map. It's the worldwide sticker board, and the idea of that is that when you're a viewer of the show or just a follower, we can stick something up on the sticker board to represent where you're from. And funnily enough, I've had nothing from Sydney. Maybe because people think I'm from Sydney, we shouldn't have something up there. But if you're a Sydney viewer, send something in. And it doesn't matter where you are in the world. We want to get that worldwide sticker board covered in stickers. When I first bought it, the boss said, have you thought this through? There's not a lot of room on there if you just cover it with stickers. But at this stage, all the things around the edge of it, if you have a look around the edge, are images that I've printed. So you can see I was test printing one just there from my Mungo National Park trip. So there's a new one, wasn't there last time, you probably saw it. And yeah, I want to put more stickers on there. Every time someone sends, and it doesn't have to be a sticker, it could be a badge or an image. If you look over this side, if I move my head, there's one there from Florida, I think it was, from memory. Yep. It's like an image from Dennis, I think it is, that did that one. I can't remember now. Isn't that shocking? I've written it on the back. I need to go and pick it up. But that's just a photo that he printed out. So don't be afraid. Just send me in something that I can stick up on the sticker board and help me make that something more impressive in 2019. Because it would be nice to have a sticker to stick up there every single week of the show. The other thing that hasn't happened for a while is the shot kit segment. And that's where I share your shot kit with everybody. And I'm going to make an effort to make the first show my shot. I'm going to do my shot kit in the first show, and that should inspire hopefully a few other people to do it. You see, Oki, that's good. Oki is hanging around today. He's just hanging around, wishing we weren't disturbing his peace and quiet here in the studio. Yes, he's just hanging around. So yeah, we'll get the shot kit up and running again, but we've had not too many. All right, this week's featured photographer, I forgot for some reason. I didn't do the featured photog last week. I need to make myself a printed running sheet with everything on it. But this week what I wanted to do was give a shout out to a photographer who I've been following for some time. Met him on a shoot in Tassie just by chance. He was there at the same time. And if you watch my vlogs, you might have seen this meeting. But it's Luke Sharkey, and if you don't know Luke does some amazing work. So I'm going to share his website. You can find him on Instagram, hugely active on Instagram, and just has some amazing work. But he, if you are in Sydney, there is I think it's the National Geographic Photographer of the Year or something like that. I think it might be National Geographic. But it's on anyway, the Art Museum of Sydney, and he's got an image down there. Luke's done some great stuff. So if you want to check out his website, the way he spells his surname is a bit confusing. It's pronounced Luke Sharkey, but it's T-S-C-H-A-R-K-E. So T-S-C-H-A-R-K-E, Luke Sharkey, and this is his website. That'll link you to everything else. So if you just go to lukesharkey.com, I've just brought his gallery up here. Now living in Tassie. Originally was from my part of the world, I think. I think he's originally Sydney-sider. But you can sort of go through and see his images. He's really got a nice knack for composition. And just beautiful images. So that's our featured photographer of the week, is Luke Sharkey. Here's his award-winning images. Some of the stuff that he does is just beautiful. Look at those. Crescent moon at Lake Oberon. Let's have a look. Look at that. The Milky Way. Beautiful shots. Just beautiful. So I really, if you're not following Luke and you're into landscape photography, definitely follow Luke, because his photos are very, very inspiring, and I think you'll enjoy following him. Very, very inspiring photographer. All right, he's our featured photog of the week, Luke Sharkey. All right, how's everyone doing? Good. What have you been out shooting this week? Tell me in the chat box. What have you been out shooting? Hopefully you've been out shooting with your camera. You like the hat, dear Chris? It's good, isn't it? Yes. Not me. Nice hat. Morning, Ben. Morning, Phoenix. G'day, Christopher Stubbs. How you going? All right. So I do the featured photo. I'm happy to take suggestions as well as to other photographers you think that are amazing, because one of the things I did 10 vloggers to follow. I did a video recently, 10 vloggers to follow, and I got people making suggestions in the comments box of people that could have been on that list, and there was people I'd never heard of before. And this is, I mean, YouTube's incredible. I type in photography vlogger in YouTube, and I can't find all these people. So I don't know how the search function works. And it makes me wonder, like I know, I look at where my subscribers come from, and most of it is YouTube suggested content. So it must be suggesting vloggers when people watch other vloggers. I don't know, but I hadn't found them. So, with this photographer of the week, if you know somebody who's good, feel free to shoot me an email or a Facebook message with a link to their Instagram or website, and I'll start compiling a list for next year, because I don't, sometimes it's hard to find amazing people. There's so many out there now that it's very hard on social media to really find people. And I've got a few favourites I follow, I'll be honest, and it's probably you're no different. So your favourites would be different to mine. So let's see. Did I get the Fuji medium format to test? Not yet, no. Still waiting. Phoenix have been out shooting Christmas beetles. Lovely. Haven't seen any Christmas beetles yet here. Clouds and kangaroos, says Anthony. Nice. Nice. I haven't been out shooting, but certainly starting to plan on it. What was I talking about? I was talking about featured photo of the week. Yes, I sent that in. And I was mentioning that video I did, the 10 vloggers that you should follow. I'm going to do another one, another 10, because I found so many more. So I might do that for next Wednesday's video. Anyway, now before I do jump into the VIP challenge, I got myself a new toy. Some of you might have seen this. Not easy to tell what that is. I just thought I'd show you the size of this thing. I'll turn it on. It is an Osmo Pocket. Have a look at how small that is. They must have used somebody in the advertising that had a fairly small hand, because it looked bigger than this. There you go. Little tiny screen on it, as you can see. It is, have a look at that. It is a full stabilized HD 4K camera. Isn't that incredible? So that was my new acquisition during the week. And I wanted something to make my B-roll better. I don't have a real steady hand with the B-roll. So that's what's going to be happening. We're going to be testing that out, hopefully, I don't know, tomorrow or something. So let's get stuck into the VIP challenge. Every week we have a VIP challenge for those that are in the VIP, which is the very important photographer group. Now, if you're wondering who it is that makes all of this possible, including fancy hats for special occasion shows, it is the VIPs, the very important photographers. Now, the very important photographers is a group of people that are generous enough to support this channel. And you can go to patreon.com/on3legs. The link is down below this video, and you can work out or see how you become a VIP as well. It's an amazing community. It's not just donating money to the channel every week or month or whatever it is. It's the way it works is that, yes, you do decide to support the channel with some money, but you then get access to the VIP group online, which I've got to say is a fantastic group of people. It's a very active group on Facebook. Probably, I wish I could be even more active in there, because sometimes I see a lot going on in there, but it's good to see the members helping each other out. And every day there's new stuff posted in there, new pictures, people helping each other. We have got a critique album in there, etc. But every week I post up a VIP challenge. And the idea is just to give the VIPs something to shoot. So this week's challenge was Christmas. And I'll just bring it up on the screen so you can see it. Being this time of the year, it was Christmas. And it's the last challenge for the year. Okay, there we go. Not loading, there it is. last challenge for the year is the Christmas challenge. So let's go through the photos and then we'll have a look about we'll then have a look at who the winners are. Okay, let's do this. Now, by the way, the boss picks the challenge winners every week and a runner-up based on what she likes. So here we go. Christmas colours of the Australian bush. Red flowering gum. So that's the Australian Christmas bush. From Therese. Chance. This one is quite clear. That's a reindeer. Therese. She says, loves this little Christmas angel that has been adorning my tree since I was a little girl. Love that. Bokeh. I don't know what you shot that with, but that's a nice lens. All right, Ren Thielen. Ventured out tonight into Mandurah. The residents on the canals always provide a spectacular display of festive lights. 3-shot pano taken with a Helios manual focus lens. That's pretty cool, isn't it? Another one I read on the canals of Mandurah. I was inspired to take this from vacant land across the water. Love the reflections of light in the canal. Image taken with the Helios 58mm HDR merged in Lightroom. Lovely. Another one from Ren. This is in his hometown Main Street Christmas display. Tim Trim, Cairns. The extent of the Christmas decorations is one tree by the pool on the Esplanade. Wasn't very interesting, so we went abstract. Fair enough. What do we got here? Tim Trim, a small nursery on the highway to Mariba. They have a display all year that varies according to the time of year. Hold on, Jed. Rudolph flies high. Who's Jed? Probably somebody from the nursery. Who knows? Tim Trim. iPhone shot of an orchid under my postbox. Thought it resembled an angel at Christmas. It does. Very nice. And that's it. That's it for the Christmas entries. Here we go. So, runner-up for this week's fantastic competition. Or VIP challenge. I don't like calling it competition. It's a challenge. It's Therese Elsie with his angel. That's the runner-up. And taking the crown this week for the Christmas challenge is Ren Thielen. Well done, Ren. And well done to everybody for participating in the VIP challenge on an ongoing basis. If I go back to the VIP page, to all the photos, you'll see just how many photos get contributed in this group throughout the year. And there is just lots and lots and lots of stuff going on in this group. Amazing group. So if you want to be a part of the VIP group, patreon.com/on3legs. Come and join us. Come and hang out with us. Because we're having a good time. And it'll help you improve your photography if that's what you're looking to do. All right. Let me jump back out of that now. Check and see what's going on in the chat box. Let's have a look. Long exposure moody. Is that what you're doing, Spanner? Chad Gillespie, testing my new lens for Tassie trip next week. Where are you going to in Tassie, Chad? You're heading to Cradle Mountain or you're heading to the Tarkine? Whereabouts? Maybe you're going to Freycinet National Park over there, where the Wineglass Bay. Where in Tassie are you heading? Hobart? Big Oz. I think if you search a place for photography, then you might find new people to follow. A place to follow. Okay, yes. That's how you came across new people. Like it's a hashtag or location. Hey, Ben, it's good for about 400 charges, but how do you change the battery? I guess you don't. You probably have to... you're talking about the Osmo? Is that right? I didn't know that. I don't think you can change the battery, so I guess it's disposable. There's definitely no way you're opening that. I mean, for the money, it's probably disposable. I know that sounds ridiculous, but it's a bit like these, isn't it? These iPhones. They're almost disposable. They last a couple of years, and then you've got to move them on. G'day, Greg. Handy parts. The Osmo charges with a USB-C connection. Yes, it does. But how do you change the battery? Well, you just don't, I guess. Yeah. Look, I think it's something that they'll probably maybe improve in the next version. Who knows? I think I'm pretty impressed with it. And, you know, they say 400 charges. I don't know where you've read that or who said that, but I'm interested to learn and see if that's true. We'll find out because I will use it fairly intensely. It will come out on every trip with me, and I will film all my B-roll. Not all my B-roll, but most of my stabilised B-roll, all my stabilised B-roll will be done with that. So we'll see how it goes. And, you know, so far I'm impressed for the size of it. And that's one of the things, as a photography vlogger, you got to remember, I'm carrying all my photography gear, plus I've got to carry vlogging gear. And, you know, that's quite a lot. It gets heavy, right? So I've got a Mavic. I've got like the Mavic Pro with 2 spare batteries. I've got a DSLR, a couple of lenses and spares. I've then got another whole camera system, which is a small system nonetheless, but it is another whole camera system, which is the Canon M50 with 3 lenses. I've got 2 tripods. I've got wireless microphone gear. So, you know, it starts to really get, you know. So I had thought about getting a stabilizer for the small camera. And then when that Osmo Pocket came out, I said, that's the solution. That's what I'm going to. Yeah, it's scary, isn't it? Yeah, $600 disposable. Yeah, it's not great, but if that's what it is, that's what it is. I don't know what they've done. So it's the sort of thing you don't think about when you buy them, but you're right. You know, the battery will only last so long. And if it's not serviceable, because it would make sense that DJI allows you to send them in and get the battery changed. That would make sense, and maybe charge you a couple $100 for it. But we'll see what happens. G'day, Paul from Quebec, Canada. People have been complaining about nobody at the battery. Yeah, people will complain about everything. Like the new Nikons come out with 1 card slot, they complain. But the reality is, it is what it is. You can take your card out and back it up as you go if you need to. If you do a shoot, quickly take it out and put it into a backup drive. I don't know. People always find something to complain about. I just look for the bright side and go, you know what? It's amazing. Forget about they can't get the battery out. Focus on the fact that it's a tiny little thing that is amazing. And you'll be happy with that. All right. So let's get stuck into this week's critiques. Where are we? Trying to get everything working here. Over to Lightroom. Oh, by the way, I'm going to show you something in Lightroom because last week we had a photo by Rob Roy. In fact, I'll show you the photo just so we can remember. Now, one of the things that I spent a lot of time doing was learning how to use some of the things in Lightroom that are a little bit more advanced. And there's a new feature that came out. Let's just jump into these past images here. There's a new feature that came out. Yeah, let's just go back to the original. So I just want to show you something here. So we critiqued this one, I think it was last week. Might have been the week before. One of the challenges that we're faced with sometimes, oh gosh, is, I don't know if you can see that, but he's got the sky here. He's got his beautiful autumn or fall colours here, and then the edges of his tree are black. And I said, well, I wonder if that's because of a gradient filter. And the answer was yes. And now I don't know if it was done before. I don't know if it was done on camera or if it was done in post-processing. But one of the features that was released, and it's going to be hard for me to do this because my my camera that is on me during the live stream is in front of the control panel on the right here, but I'll do my best. If you see this, the gradient filter up here. So if you're in a situation like this and you know you've got to settle the sky down, rather than use your gradient filter on location because you're going to be hit with that problem, use one in Lightroom, okay? Now, it's not going to work on this one because of this issue. Let me see if I can actually find an image. Yeah, let's go back to the library now. You know what the issue is. And I'll see if I can find an image that I can use it on. I'll just go into here and we'll find one. Just so I can show you a good way of sorting this problem out. Let's find one I can use. Here we go. This is a good example. Let's use this one here. So let's say I want to put a gradient filter down to settle down the sky because the sky is really bright. In fact, that's overexposed, that one. I'm not going to fix that one. Let me go back to grid. Let's go to this one here. So I want to settle down the sky. So if I go into develop and I hit the gradient filter and I drag it down like so, well, let's put it where you want it. Oh, hang on, let's just do this and get rid of that one. Let's cancel that. What's it doing to me? Oh, it's got the before and after. Let me get rid of that. I want to get rid of that one. Here we go. All right. So I'm going to put a gradient filter on that sort of stops about there. Now, if I drop the exposure down, what happens is, now that I've done that, that's down 1.5 stops roughly. If I do that, and let's just get out of that for a second, and I'll bring the exposure up on the rest of the image. Let's go back into that gradient filter. So I can just sort of do it as you would naturally. I'll just bring the exposure up on the image just a tad more. As you can see, I underexpose in these situations for this reason. But what's happening, and I'm now down 2.5 stops of light. Okay, and that's sort of a good balance. So you can see that that's actually worked well. The problem I've got though is I'm darkening my trees. You can definitely see the gradient filter darkening my trees. So you've probably heard of luminosity masking before. Have you heard of luminosity masking? If so, you've probably seen it's been done in things like Photoshop. Well, there's a way to sort of do it in Lightroom that is really simple to do, so you don't affect your trees. And the way you do it is down here, see this range mask? So when you've got a gradient filter selected, there's a thing below all the adjustments and it's called range mask. And it's by default, it is off. So if you go to luminance rather than color, so luminance, it's now going to let you make adjustments to your gradient filter, and it's only going to apply to certain things. Now, if you can have a look, once I've done this, and if I tick the box, it'll show the mask, or you can press the O key. If you press the O key, it does the same thing. See that? But the O key just shows you where it's the areas it's affecting. This here actually turns it into like a grayscale. Now, this range is what you need to adjust. Now, we want to apply the gradient filter to the highlights. So I'm going to leave the top one here. But what I can do is I can bring the left one up, like so. And let me just get rid of that luminous mask for a second. And I'll press the OK. I can bring the left one up. And you'll see that the trees start to get separated. Okay? So you can see as I bring that left one up, you can see now, I don't know if you can see around the top of the trees, it's doing something funny. See right up here? Okay, so what I'm doing is I'm actually masking around the trees. So if I get it just about right, I'm going to go to just about there. And then you've got the smoothness. This smoothness, think of it like feathering. Okay, so if you want to get rid of any harshness, you just bring that up as well. Now, what's happened is that instead of applying that gradient filter to the trees, I've now got the light back on my trees, but I've reduced the effect on the background. Now, if I turn off if I take the O off, and you'll see that I should be able to now darken and lighten things without affecting the trees too much. Now, if I go all the way, you'll see how it's left a funny, weird thing around the top of the tree. So I can adjust the smoothness to try and stop that from happening. So see if I go with that to the left, it's like obvious. So if I bring the smoothness up, just to get rid of that, and then now adjust the exposure to where I want it, it's like luminosity masking. It's really good. Now, it is tricky to get it right on an image like this. This is not a great example, but that's just an example of what you can do rather than trying to sort out, you know, trying to do that in the field. Because if I put a filter on in the field, everything would just be dark. I don't want it. The other thing I can do is I can do the same thing from the bottom. So I can bring one up from the bottom here, and I'll put the transition right there where it goes from dark to light. And I can go range masking on luminance, but this time I can do just the dark if I wanted to. You know, I could just say, just adjust certain things. And once again, if I was to, so all it is going to do is it's going to mask out. I don't know if you can see that, how easily you can see YouTube. But now what it's doing is it is just really increasing the shadows and leaving the areas that are outside of that. So see these spots that are still dark? So if I bring this down even further, so it's just finding the areas that are dark, dark, dark and brightening them up, and everything else it sort of gets saved from it. So you can sort of move it around and just try different things, and you'll see it's actually quite a powerful tool. But it's something that not a lot of people know about. And I think it only came out at the beginning of 2018. So if you want to adjust things without darkening your image, that's one thing you do. The other thing you can do, you probably saw that there was a color option. So if I come up here again, let's say I want to increase the saturation. So let's just go to color masking. So then you say which colors, and I really want to enhance these greens. You do that. Now what I can do is I can increase the saturation, and it's only going to do it on certain things in my image. So rather than increasing the saturation of everything in this part of the image, because it would probably look funny if I increased the saturation of, you know, and I can choose different colors. See, this is like a color picker. Rather than increasing the saturation of everything, this allows me to use my gradient mask to increase the saturation of certain things. So it's a really good tool, and it's called range masking. And you can choose color or you can choose luminance. Okay, so you can decide how you want your range mask to work. But that is how you get around that issue. How many of you knew that that was a new feature inside of Lightroom? I'd be interested to know how many were aware that you had this range masking that you could use. Because it's pretty cool. It's a pretty cool thing to be able to do. And I was doing a Lightroom tip of the week for a while there, and I haven't done one for a while, but because there's also a masking trick as well that I use a fair bit for that type of thing. Let's have a look at the chat box. What's going on? Chad's going to Cradle first, then West Coast, Hobart, up the East Coast, back to Devonport, 12 days. Sounds nice, mate. Wow. That's going to be a nice trip. Do I run the CC version? So I've got the Classic on my desktop. And I have on my iPad, I can't show you because I'm using it for the live stream. I have Lightroom CC on there, and I have it on my phone. And on my collections, if you make a collection, and on the left-hand side you tick the box on that collection is then available on the iPad. Now, I haven't used my iPad much for editing. Typically what I do is when I have an image that I'm ready to share, I put it into a collection called Ready to Share that is synchronized over the cloud, so it's available on my phone and my iPad. Not to make it easy for me to share, because I usually just airdrop it across if I want to share it, but more so I can view it on different devices, because sometimes you'll stare at the computer screen for so long in this environment with this lighting, and you'll do a photo, and I'll put it on the iPad, and I'll go and sit in the other room, and I'll look on the iPad, and I'll go, look, it's just too saturated, or you know, and you can just see it with different eyes, and zoom in, pinch zoom, have a look around the image. I might find a dust bunny I missed, something like that. I don't know. So that's how I use it. I've just decided that I'm going to get the iPad Pro, because I use this here which is a Wacom pen, and a tablet to do all of my editing. So I'm very used to using that type of process for editing. So my idea is to get the iPad Pro, and I'm in the middle of just buying a new backup drive, because the one that I've got, talking about irreplaceable batteries, this one here, I don't know if you've seen these before. So this was my solution before. It has an SD card reader in the side. You're out in a shoot, you put your SD card in, you then back your images up, but you can also then hook this up wirelessly to your iPad, phone, or computer, laptop, and you can edit photos on the go. You can just bring across the raw files you want. The battery in this no longer works, to the point where it doesn't even seem to be turning on anymore. Now, I don't need to panic about that because all the images on here were backed up to another drive, but I'm going to replace that with another WD. I've had that for about, I'd say, 8 years, so it's worked well, but it's time for a new one, because that one's just stopped working, and you can't change the battery in it. So the idea is I want to get, I'm trying to lighten my travel load up, so I don't want to take a laptop with me. I'll take an iPad Pro, because currently I always take the iPad. I'll take an iPad Pro, I'll take my backup drive, and that means that on the go, I can download an image to my iPad Pro and I can edit using the Apple Pen. So that's how that's going to work. Yeah. Am I using the Adobe subscription? Yes, I have the full subscription because, of course, my video editing is done in Adobe Premiere. So I just have the full subscription. I think it's about $70 a month or something. I can't remember. So, yeah, they're into me for a few dollars. But I use it a lot. So I go, well, that's worth it for me. Alrighty. Philip, yeah, you've been using it. Cool. Dennis didn't know you could do that. There you go. Yeah, it's a good trick. It's a good trick, and it'll mean that you can easily use graduated filters without worrying about. It doesn't work in every instant. I do have another trick for selecting stuff. In fact, I'll quickly show you because it's the last show of the year. So let me jump back into that image. And I'm going to reset it, if I can find it. Which one was it? And I will reset it. I'll just find another one. Doesn't really matter which one it is. Here we go. So this one hasn't been edited, but I'll show you another trick that's really good. I'll jump into the screen. Let's jump over to my Lightroom. So if you zoom out to like 1 to 8, like this, go to develop, get your brush, make your brush size. So see how my brush is bigger. See this auto mask? Tick that. Auto mask. I don't know how well you can see this on the right hand side. And just click on the area you want to adjust. So see, I want to adjust the sky. If I just click on there, I'll press the O key so you can see what it did. Now, what it has done is it has auto masked the trees for me. So let me go back to fit, and I'm going to adjust the exposure of my brushed area. Just bring that down. Flow at 100. Density at 100. Let me do that. Okay. Turn that mask off. There we go. So you can see now that I can adjust the sky without adjusting the trees. See that? Now if I do it too much, you'll really see the effect it has. Let me zoom right in for you. Let me go to 1 to 1. So you can see how it's auto masked the trees out and the edges. But the reality is now I can adjust the exposure of my sky independently of everything else. And some things it works really well on, some things you got to be careful. But if I just drop it a little bit, I mean, I can see it's it's making a bit of a dog's breakfast of it next to my tree there. Now I've done a brush selection. I need to get back out and do it all again. I'll go back out. I'll do it again so you can see. So you zoom right out. I'm going to get rid of that brush. You zoom right out, and you can do it with anything, right? I could do it with the greens. If I wanted to just select the greens, it auto masks based on what I select. So, and that's what it's using. It's using the colours on the contrast. So zoom right out, make your brush big. So you can see my size of my brush there is about 70. So it fills up most of the screen. I've got auto mask ticked. Okay, it's got a fair bit of feather on it. I'll bring the feathering right back. And I'm going to just click on the sky. Okay, now if I press the O key, that's what shows you this red. Okay, it's showing you what I have actually masked. And I'll zoom back into fit. Well, let's go to 1:1 so you can really see what's going on. But you can see it has masked around all the trees. Now, you can change the feather on that so it's harsher or smoother. Okay, so you can decide on how you want, what the transition is going to be like by using that. And then you can adjust, if I get rid of the red, which is using the O key, I can adjust the exposure of my sky. If I go to fit, look at this as I change the exposure of the sky. Nothing else changes. Can you see that? So if you really want to mask around things, it is an amazing feature. Now, you just got to be careful. I can change, for example, the saturation of my sky. If I want to make the sky more blue, I can do that now. I could just pick a blue here, which is a nice blue. It's too purple. Let's go back over here. Too green. There we go. So I can now, I'll just drop that saturation back a bit, dehaze the sky. So everything I'm doing now is just adjusting the sky. I'm going to bring that exposure just to there, drop the highlights in the sky. Now, you can see how easy that is. So that's instead of a graduated filter, I'm able to use a brush with auto mask, and I'll just show you what that looks like. Let's get rid of everything else. Now, I've done that pretty quickly, but that was before, that's after. Look at the difference. Is that a cool feature or what? Be interested to know how many of you use that feature or knew that you could do that. Because that's an easy way. Because if I use a graduated filter, I'm definitely going to darken the trees, and it's going to affect things. So let me know what you think about that one. Do you use that strategy, that tactic or technique? I'd love to know that I've taught you something new in 2018 and help you graduate on something new, you know, because it's cool to learn new things. I'd be interested to see if you use that one, if you found that helpful or not. All right, I'm going to go into my image critique folder now because I've been mucking around too much. And I need to get that brush size back down because that'll throw me out when I get in there. All right. But as you can see, it's a super, super easy way to go about editing your photos and masking. And this is why using Photoshop is something that doesn't happen very much anymore, because it is so easy to select things. You can look at, you can use that feature, by the way, with the auto masking. You can use auto masking. So make sure you turn it off when you do it. But you can use auto masking on anything that's got high contrast. So, for example, I'll show you on these images as I critique these images, actually, because you can use it to select a color and just increase saturation. And it will, when it does the masking, the feathering will allow you to choose what colors that it sort of picks up, or how it decides which pixels to include in the mask. Now, it doesn't always get it right, so you need to understand how to use things to select or deselect things. And you can, and I'll show you shortly, you can use your Alt or Option key to show you the mask itself. Okay, so when you press that key, it shows you the actual mask in black and white from memory, a bit like in Photoshop. All right. Well, hopefully you found that helpful. I need to go back to doing the weekly tips. All right, let's jump straight into the image critiques. This week is pretty cool because we've got somebody who's never sent an image in before. We've got Craig Gill has sent in an image, and we've got Rob Roy. Now, if you do want to send a photo in for critique on this show, send them into Ben at On Three Legs. It's down in the description below the video. Just send them through with a bit of information about the photo talk. And what Craig did was he just shared them straight out of Lightroom. So that's an easy thing to do, by the way. If you don't know how to do that, you could just go down to the bottom left-hand side, usually, where you can do your publishing. And you can select email, or you can just share it. I can't remember how you do that. Is it like a photo share, I think? Somewhere you can email the file. There we go. So if you go to file, you can go to email photo, and that way you can email it to me. So you can decide how you want to share it, but that's an easy way to do it if you use Lightroom. So let's jump across to my Lightroom screen. We'll have a look at the two photos. Here we go. So the photos on the left are sent by Craig Gill, the one on the right by Rob Roy. And we're going to take a look at these two images. We'll start with Craig's. Craig says this is the Grotto. It's on the Great Ocean Road, Victoria. Sony A2, Sony Zeiss 55mm 1.8 lens, f13, 25 seconds, shot just after sunset. And it was a real rush shot of 4 images stitched together in Lightroom. It was freezing cold and quickly getting dark. No filters. Cheers, mate. Keep up the good work. Kind regards, Craig. Thanks, Craig. So good to see you sending your images in. It's lovely to have a new viewer sending their images in for critique. So I'll do my best to help you out here. And remember that everything that I say during this critique is just my opinion. You know, I'm not an expert. I'm not a photo guru or anything. I'm just a guy who loves his photography. And I think sometimes it's good to have someone else look across your images because it gives you an idea of what sort of things you can improve upon. So let's look at the technicalities first. Then we'll have a look at the composition and the post-processing and just understand a bit about what happens when you do certain things and what you could do better. So from a technical aspect, 4 images stitched together. I'm assuming you had to do that because of the focal length of your lens rather than just shoot with one wide-angle lens, but I can't see it stitched, so it's worked out well. F13's fine. 25-second exposure. As long as you kept your settings the same on each shot, which it looks like you did, then you're fine. I think that's all good. Shot at ISO 50, so a nice low ISO. Hard to complain about that. All good. Now, as I look around this, straight away I'm seeing a distracting mark up here. I don't know what that is. And when I zoom in, you can also see these lines around the edge of the rock. Now, whenever you shoot something with high contrast, like this, you've got to be really mindful of these artifacts. You know, you can really see this line around the edge. Now, that could be chromatic aberration. It can be something else. But let's just see if clicking the remove does anything. No. So really, the raw file needs to be accessed probably to get those to be removed. Now, they happen for different reasons. Typically, if you pull and push your highlights and shadows too much, it can happen. It can also happen if you do that type of masking that I just showed you as well. But let's use that masking for a second, because we can use that masking to actually try and fix that problem. Not going to be easy. In fact, it's going to be really hard, but let's just try. So if I grab that brush and I click auto mask and I make my brush small, let's see if I can just select these little pixels in here. And let's see if I can just drop the exposure on those pixels. No, it's not going to get enough of them. So you can see it's sort of trying to get them, but struggling. So it's not going to work. It's too small an area. I'd have to do that in Photoshop. But that is something you can do in Photoshop, by the way. You could select these colors around here and you could adjust those. But to me, I would be trying to fix that. I really think that's... in this image, if you printed that up, it'd be very, very obvious that you've got this weird white line all the way around. And it is because of the difference in the contrast between the two areas. Just use your healing brush and get rid of these little spots too. I don't know if you can see that little spot there, but I'll get rid of it. Just makes a difference if you get rid of it. The other thing to think about is just, here, the composition for me, I want to see more. And I know you had a 55mm lens, so it could have been tough to see more. But I think you know, maybe landscape would have been better, because I'm not seeing, I don't feel like I'm seeing enough. It's a bit cramped, and that can be an issue. And the shadows are a bit dark, so it's a bit, if I turn the shadow detection on, you can see there's a fair few dark shadows, but the rest seem to be okay. I'm not sure, there's heaps of detail in there, so let's see if we can pull some of that detail out rather than have it hidden. And once again, you don't want to go too crazy, but for me, I'm a big fan of, let's just bring those highlights back up, see if we can fix that white area. Same with the whites, let's bring it all up a bit. We can adjust everything a bit later. Bring the exposure up a tad. And this is where knowing how to use your software is going to help you, right? So that's fixed the exposure up in here. Now let's do the brush, right? Let's get a brush. Let's auto mask, okay? Let's auto mask, and let's select in here. I'm going to select in there. So once again, let's go to 1 to 8. Come on, zoom out. There we go. And let's make our brush big so it covers the entire image. And I'm going to click on the sky. Okay. Now we'll go back to fit. And you'll see if I press the O, it's just selected that area. See that? So I need to make sure that I'm selecting everything. So let's try that again. Let's go back out. And this is where sometimes it doesn't select everything that you want. Let's put the feather all the way up. Let's get rid of that brush. Let's try here. That's a bit better. Just fill in the rest there. There we go. Let's go back to fit. It's a little bit there it hasn't got. There we go. But you can see my mask is not on the rocks. I don't know if you can see that, but my mask is not on the rocks. So I'll just do it again so you can see it happen. So select it again. Let's just do it again. You'll see it. If I do it, you can do it without zooming right in. I find zooming right in works well. But watch this as I do this. You'll see I've got because I've only got, the brush is not huge. It's only selecting parts. But see how it's not selecting the rocks? It's masking the rocks for me. So this is an easy way. Rather than really pushing and pulling your highlights, which causes that funny haloing, this will allow me just to make adjustments in that area. So I'll just press O to turn the masked area off so we can't see it. And I'll just drop the exposure down a bit in there. I'm going to warm it up. Yeah, I'm going to warm it up a bit, drop the exposure a bit more. I'm going to adjust the clarity out there. I'm going to increase the saturation. Bit of dehaze. Let's increase that back up now. Let's get rid of a bit of a noise in there, a bit of noise reduction. So just drop the sharpness down. It's just the sky with longer exposure anyway. Okay. Now, if you look at before and after, you can definitely see that what I've done is I've managed to bring up the detail in the foreground, and now we've got some blown out highlights here. So see that? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get another brush, and I'm going to auto mask. And let's just select these areas. Let me just go to O and turn this off for a second so I can see what I'm doing. And we're going to get these really blown out areas, and we'll just select those. All right. And this is the beauty of doing this type of thing, is I can get these really blown out areas. Just got to be careful not to select too much. Let it feather in. Is it cool or what? Get that little area there. We'll get that little area there. There we go. Let it feather a bit now. So I'm not going too edgy. You don't want to see the edges. Okay, I'm just going to get down here a bit. Oh, just a little bit. There we go. All right. So I'll turn the mask off. I'm just going to reduce the exposure in that area because it's just lost detail there, unfortunately. There's nothing we can do about it. Bring the highlights down in that area. And I'll need to increase it a bit more here because that's not looking good. Now this is where if you go too far, press the Alt key, see my brush turns into a minus. So now I can actually reduce what I've done with my brush. Now see my brush, my minus brush, see the flow changes? I always have my flow right down so it doesn't undo everything I just did. It's just a slight adjustment to what I did. But even if I'm let's say I mess up and I go, oh well, that's where I'm going to leave it. I can grab another brush and I can actually just mask off in this area here. Do the same thing. See, it's selecting the horizon. So it's actually selecting the horizon automatically because I've got auto mask on, and just increase that area a little bit. So you can sort of, use that as a feature. This image is a good example of how you would use it. Unfortunately, I'm working on a JPEG and it's already got something going on around the edges. But hopefully it helps you understand that if you lose your detail, you can really bring it back with just a little bit of effort. If we do the before and after, so that was before and that's after. Okay, so it's just evened out the entire exposure. Let me do this here. So now I've got the detail down in here. I can see the reflection in the water of that detail. To me, it just looks a little bit more appealing. The other thing you could have done with this shot, if you wanted to, was HDR, so multiple exposures. I know you're rushing because it was late at night. But for me, I just feel like it's a bit tight, and I just think technically there's a few things there that you could do better. I don't know what everybody else thinks, but yeah, when you're with these photos, with digital files, it's really easy just to do this, drop the highlights, increase the shadows. I see a lot of people do that, and then you end up with these weird artifacts. So if you are doing that, you just got to be careful about these edges. It's easy to overdo it. And right now that looks a bit HDR-y. But yeah, it just gives you an idea. Don't be afraid to, do things like even with the shadows. Get another brush. Let me just bring that up here. We'll just turn off the auto mask. Get another brush and bring your shadows up, and just brush it around the shadows like this. And I know that's overdone right now, but I'm going to fix it in a second. Same with this reflection. Don't be afraid to do that, and then just adjust it. So, now what you've got is you've got your shadows. If you have a look at the difference of before and after, they've got the detail and the shadows coming out without looking too HDR. Now, overall on this image, I can now drop the exposure back down a bit to make it more like what it was like, and you start to get a feel. So my histogram is looking good, and yeah, we'll leave it at that. There's that one. Hopefully that helped you, Craig. But certainly, to me, that image technically, there was a few challenges with it from a post-processing point of view. Just be careful with that, because it is easy to create artifacts. Whilst they give us all these wonderful tools in Lightroom, those tools can damage pixels in your image that are hard to save. Now, when you've got raw files, like I was showing you on my image before with the masking, you can see it selects things much better. Plus, I've got 46 megapixel sensor in the D850, so it's got a lot more pixels to choose from. That does play a part when it comes to post-processing for sure. It can make it harder too, but it certainly can make it easier. All right, quick look in the chat box. For the last, Pixel Chatter 56, the last show of the year. G'day Ryan, how are you? Chance, made it at last. What did you miss? Heaps. Peter Ponsor, have a look at the WD My Passport wireless SSD drive. You have the HDD, which is what I had before, yeah. The only thing I've got with the SSD is it's so friggin' expensive. But I guess if you just go for, I don't need a lot. 256 gig would be plenty, I think, on a trip for me. So I think I will look at that, and I will do a review on it once I have it. Was a similar image reviewed last week? I don't know which one you were talking about, Ryan, but it might have been one that I was showing that we did last week, just to show you how to fix one of the problems from last week, because we ran out of time last week And we are running out of time this week, so seems to be the new theme on this show. Matt, nope, that is a new one for me. I had a photo last day I struggled with. Now I know how to handle it. There you go. So I've showed you 2 Lightroom tricks today. I don't know why I stopped sharing Lightroom tricks, but Lightroom keeps changing things and they keep adding these awesome features. So, I just think that the range masking on the graduated filters is a handy trick to know. My mission next year, by the way, is to become even better at post-processing. So I'm looking for a couple of courses to do. And it sounds funny that you would do courses, but I find doing courses, and usually I do them on Udemy. If you haven't heard of Udemy before, it's Udemy. Now there's some crap on there, but they're only $20, $22, sometimes $16. This is US dollars. And you can do a course for 3 hours, and in that 3 hours, you might pick up 5 things. But you've got to find somebody who really knows what they're doing. Otherwise, you're just going to get the basics you can find for free on YouTube. So I find doing the courses and try and find advanced processing courses, post-processing courses. If you really want to push yourself to the limit, and you'll get some, you'll learn some new tricks that you didn't know. So my mission next year is to really up my post-processing game. In 2018, I got a bit lazy with my post-processing. I used to do a lot of work, and I think I was exhausted because of the HDR thing that I used to do. HDR photos sometimes would take hours, if not days, to process one image, especially with luminosity masking and really mucking around with a lot of different aspects of an image. So I was enjoying the simplistic approach of just using the basic corrections in Lightroom without touching too many other things. But my mission next year is to get stuck into learning how to post-process at a higher level. Christopher Stubbs, nice one. Thank you. Rick, g'day. Just made it. Phoenix, Merry Christmas, everyone. Izzy, morning from Thailand. G'day, mate. In Thailand. Don't get in a tuk-tuk. That's my advice. Don't know if you've been there before, but when I got into a tuk-tuk and got asked to take somewhere, we had to visit about 5 other places first, so he got fuel vouchers. Little trip away. Handy parts buy. See you all next year. See you, buddy. Alrighty, well, I was going to critique a second image, but we are out of time, so I've decided I'm going to leave it at that because I did the bonus Lightroom tips. I just want to finish up by saying thank you. I think, as a content creator, which we all are, but as a YouTuber, I wouldn't have a channel if it wasn't for you guys and girls. And I say you guys generically, even though my statistics show me that 97% of my audience are men, which is interesting. Maybe women don't like using YouTube, don't know. But I am just so grateful that, you tune in each week and that you support me, even through the times where we had all those technical issues. It must have been frustrating for you as a viewer to have to sit there and wait for me to reboot the computer and get things up and running again. To those of you that have sent in images to be critiqued, very brave people, thank you, thank you, thank you from the bottom of my heart, because that is what this show was built for. For those of you that have participated by commenting, thank you. For those of you that have participated by commenting and contributing to the worldwide sticker board and sending in your gifts, which you don't have to do, but I'm so amazed and blown away by and grateful. Thank you. My channel this year has grown in numbers, not dramatically, but you would have noticed in the last few probably months, or probably 2 months, it started to rapidly grow again, and that's because of consistent content. And I really in this last quarter, I made a decision to do that. I said, I've got to up my content creation game and try and post videos 2 or 3 times a week. So that's what I've been doing. It's really hard. I know that most of you have full-time jobs and struggle to get out and shoot. Well, I too have a full-time job. I have my own business, and that varies as to how intense it is. But not only do I like to get out and shoot, because I don't vlog every shoot I do, by the way. Sometimes I just go out on my own little shoots. I do vlog most of them these days. But not only do I have to do the shoot, but then I have to process videos. And for a 10-minute vlog video, it can take 3 to 10 hours to edit that. That's just reality. So you know, it's rewarding, but it's also a lot of effort. So I'm grateful that you tune in and that you leave your comments and you tell me if you like something or don't like something, because that's what it's all about for me, is getting your feedback. Lastly, to the VIPs, and the VIPs are my patrons. They're the ones that truly have stepped up to that next level in support, and they put their hand in their pocket and they fund the channel. They fund the vlogging gear. They fund, you know, the software. Just the software to do this live stream was $800. You know, it costs money to do all of this, and it's so good to know that you enjoy it at a level where you want to contribute. And it has stopped me, it's allowed me to say no to several offers I've had this year to take on some sort of sponsorship. And so that's a beautiful thing. So thank you. I'm going to stop there and just wish you all a Merry Christmas. I know for some of you, Christmas is a time of joy. For some of you, it's a time of sadness. For some of you, it means nothing. You're not religious, or you don't like Christmas. I'm not a Christian. I'm not a religious person, but I've always loved Christmas from the sense that it's family time. It's time to switch off. In Australia, in particular, it's time for us to switch off and to gather as one, as a family unit, and spend some time together. And to me, that's what's always made it special. You know, I'm wearing this hat today because, you know, I always wear a hat, and the boss found this in at a Christmas shop and said, you need to wear this, because I do celebrate Christmas, but not for the reason that you might think. I celebrate Christmas because it is a time where we can all appreciate each other and just stop the clock for a few days and just take time out. I think life is so busy. Even, you know, I saw something yesterday on one of the local community groups on Facebook where they were saying, don't go to the shopping centre. People are fighting in the car park for car parking spots. And I'm thinking, you know what? Just chill out, everybody. Chill out. Just take a deep breath. You know, life's too short to be fighting over car parking spots. And to me, that's what Christmas is all about, is the fact that we do live such busy lives that we leave everything to the last minute, to the point where we have to fight over parking. But I'm sure on Christmas Day, they'll just be able to put their feet up, or maybe at Boxing Day, and relax. So Merry Christmas. Thank you so much for joining me this year. The next Pixel Chatter is going to be in the new year. Not sure of the exact date. I did say the 12th of January was going to be the first one, but it looks like I'm going to be away that weekend on a weekend away shooting, top secret mission. And if you follow me on social media, you'll find out. You'll find out exactly what it is. Because I will do Instagram stories or something when I'm on this shoot. But it looks like I'm going to go shooting that weekend, heading out to somewhere special to shoot something I've never shot before. So it's going to be a bit of fun. I will be out and about on the over the Christmas period. If you are in Sydney and you see me out and about, come and say hello. There's nothing more I love more than catching up with you in person. And every now and then somebody catches me out and comes and says, g'day. I am a sunrise shooter, so unless you get up early, you probably won't find me. I don't do too many sunsets. As for my workshops, I've got a couple of messages saying, when am I doing my next one? Because I missed out on the last two in Sydney. I'm going to release a bit of a calendar on my website soon. Anyway, cheerio. Merry Christmas. Thanks again for joining me. Until next time, get out there and take some photos. Have a good one. Stay safe. I was going to say stay sober, but I know that's unlikely. See ya.